Hi, and welcome to this episode of BariAftercare, the podcast. I'm so, yeah, I'm so not present for this because I was just chatting with Rob, and I'm like, oh wait, now we're actually doing the podcast and we're started. So, you all know my friend Rob Demedio, and if you don't know Rob, then you've been living under a rock or you haven't had your surgery yet. So, we are going to introduce Rob. I'm going to let Rob introduce himself, and we haven't planned out anything for this podcast. So, we're going to catch up publicly and find out all of the amazing things that Rob has been doing. So, Rob, introduce yourself to our audience.
Kinda, you always make me feel like I'm semi-important when we get on these things, and
No, you are not semi-important. You are super important.
still a guy in his basement is what I will always respond to with that.
Yes.
But, I guess, you could go back and listen. I think we have, like, 2 different podcast episodes, so this will be our
Yeah.
3rd.
Yeah.
But I'm Rob. I had bariatric surgery in June of 2020, and I really committed to changing my life through bariatric surgery. I was very, very lucky that I had a good therapist that recommended Connie's books to me, and they really did change my life.
Uh,
I realized that so much of what I was doing after bariatric surgery was good from a macros and movement standpoint. But what really made me heal and do the work was my relationship with food. And I devoured every book that
mhm,
you've written, Connie, and
thank you.
it changed my mindset of how to do it and the importance of building a lifestyle that's sustainable, but also having clear boundaries for myself. So I've taken all those pieces of wisdom. I've decided to help coach clients. And for the last 3 years, we've had a business called Busy Bariatrics, where we help bariatric patients optimize their lifestyle. And one of the coolest things was my first year in business. Like you said, whatever you need, let me go and get some help. And I was like, would you mind coming on our community call? And you lit a fire
Oh,
under
this
my
is good.
client phenomenally,
Oh, good.
as you always do. And it's why your voice always resonates with me. It's a very firm, direct, which my wife
You
would
are
say
too?
I need. Um,
Well, you're that way too.
it's I come under a good coaching tree of you. Of there's only so much time, and I joke like busy is kind of an excuse, but also I'm too busy myself to beat
Yeah,
around the bush. Let's
right.
get right to it and do it. Um, but we've gotten this really cool thing where we start our own summer camp based on the fact that we brought you in as a guest speaker, and everyone's like, "When's she coming back?" I'm like, "I don't know if I can bring her back every week." But
Oh,
you helped us found our summer camp, and now it's a staple of Busy Bariatrics, and we bring in speakers like you to help inspire our clients everywhere.
cool. So I'm going to tell everybody that how we met, okay?
Oh my
Because some
goodness.
people didn't hear the first 2 episodes and the first 2 episodes that you were on,
I
which,
skipped
by
over
the
all
way,
the good parts in this conversation.
I tell you what, I went to the JBY Awards for the first time. I had been to them a couple of years ago, and this was right after COVID, so it was pretty shortly after you'd had your surgery, I'm guessing.
Yeah, this
2 years,
was
maybe?
I was about a year at like 15 months. Yeah.
Okay. Oh gosh. And you were already so well known. But of course, I'm not the biggest social media person. And so I go to this event, and usually, because I've been in this community for literally decades. And so I was so used to everywhere I went in the community, I knew most of the people. And I go to this JBY Awards after the pandemic, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know a soul here. I mean, I don't think I knew one person there. And I'm like, okay, the good news is we have the next generation of professionals who will be around for years and years and years and years. And it was very inspiring and very encouraging and very like, okay, this is a generation of social media that has passed me by. I'm not all that interested in getting all that involved in it. So Kelsey does all of my social media stuff for me. So grateful. Thank you, Kelsey. And I was so impressed and amazed. And here's what happened at this JBY, which if you guys don't know what JBY is, it's just BU award ceremony, and it's Kelly and Mel. If you don't know Kelly and Mel, what's their podcast called?
Our Sleeve Life podcast.
Yes, I knew that. OSLP, our
Yes.
Sleep Life podcast. And so they're amazing. And so I was just blown away by this event. It was so well put together. It was so encouraging. It was so many people who are in the social media world. And I'm sitting there, and this guy named Rob keeps winning these awards. I'm like, who's this Rob dude, man? He's winning all the awards. But here's the deal, every time this Rob dude got up and spoke and accepted his award, it was with the most humility. It was with the most, uh, this is for all of us attitude. And there was so much focus on your family. And I thought, oh, this is a good human. This is a good human. And so I was very impressed. And so when I came home from there, I'm like, my podcast was pretty new. And I'm like, I'm reaching out to this Rob dude, whoever he is.
I did not
Little,
realize your podcast was that new
it was
when you
very
when you
new.
had me on.
So we're in the, we got like 220 something or 30 something episodes. And so, I've been doing this for a couple of years now, but it was very new at that time. And I thought,
For
I could,
those scoring at home, I'm on episode 8 of mine.
I
So
love it.
always in your
We're going to
footsteps.
talk all about that in a little bit. So little did I know that Rob knew who I was. I had no idea. And all I wanted to do was go to the event and get the heck out of there. I'm like, oh, I was nervous. I'm like, I don't know all these people. And what people don't know about me is I'm not very much of a social person unless it's like what you and I were doing before we started the episode. We're really talking. We're talking about real things. I'll be all day for that. But this big social things, I'm like, oh gosh, it is too much for me. So I like hightailed it out of there. Had no idea Rob even knew who I was. So you tell the second half of that story.
Oh my goodness. So you missed the best part. Like
What was it?
we had rehearsals the day before, and for those of you who didn't know, like I lived in Connie's book like it was a Bible. Like I everything I've ever consumed is there. And I'm looking over the list of presenters. I'm like, oh my goodness, Connie Stapleton's coming. And I couldn't believe it. And you were talking to Laura Grabeau at rehearsals at the front of the stage, and I was like, you know what? I know Laura. I have a semi decent, but again, like these are internet people. I'd never met
Mhm.
anyone in the whole bariatric community outside of my little niche. I was like, these are internet people. I have no idea how it goes. So I started to walk up to, and I'm like sitting there fully anxious. I'm like, hi, my name is Rob Demedio. I've read your book. I'm not weird. I really want to tell you that I like you, but not in that way because I don't know how to socially interact with people.
Oh my God.
So, so I get like within like 5 feet, and you turned around, and like it was this weird like you started to look at me, and I bolted the other way because I was like prepared if I was going to like come around and be like, "Hello, Dr. Stapleton. It is very nice to meet you."
It's
So
so
like it threw me
hysterical.
off.
Oh my
But then
God.
you emailed me, and I had no idea how you got my email, but I got like a hi, this is Connie Stapleton. I heard you on, I was at JBY. I saw you won these awards. I'd love to have you on the podcast. And I pretty much went to Jason Smith from Barry Nation and was like, are you pulling a prank on me? Because he's the only person who knows the fanboy level I have. And I was like, and he's like, no, I'm pretty sure that's the one we had a podcast and an invite with her from. Like, it checks out. He's like, when did she email you? And I was like, oh, like 2 weeks ago. Like, I was pretty sure it was spam or someone trolling me.
That is so funny. I
And then,
mean,
and then I think we've had a good relationship ever
oh my
since the first
gosh.
recording.
Oh my God. You are too much fun, and I'm so comfortable with you. And you, I get a lot of joy chatting with you because you're a lot of fun.
It's a mutual love, and that's why, like I say, like the worst part of recording is the best part of any podcast is the 15 minutes before the episode
So
records
true.
in the 15 minutes after. I always
Yeah.
say that's how you can gauge how good the episode is. Like, and you know now from hosting people, there's some where it's like you get on, it's like, you know what, I'm going to hit play and we're just going to get started. There's others
Yeah,
where it's like, you know, oh shoot, it's 30 minutes in. We should probably
I know,
record.
that's what we just did. I'm like, "We should probably start this, it's kinda late."
Literally all of these things.
You're a teacher, you get up early.
It's amazing. It's 9:41 on the East Coast of this recording,
It
and I
is.
promise you, as good as actually no, we did about 30 minutes before the episode
I
started.
know it.
So I'm going to bank the 15 from the beginning. It's going at the end. I'm going to give a firm goodbye after we upload this, and I
Well,
am out.
the good news for you is when I click stop, it cuts us off, so we don't get that opportunity to
Oh
keep
wow, it really
chatting.
goes black.
Yeah, it does. So Rob has been a big part of BariAftercare in the past, and there's been a little time thing because life has gotten very busy, but Rob's coming back
I'm
to
coming back.
BariAftercare. So that is a absolute benefit and bonus, and everybody absolutely loves you, and I didn't ever not get comments every week. "Oh, what I learned from Rob is amazing." I'm like, "Yeah, for good reason." So you are the what is that word they say? You are the
Annoying.
no, that is not the word. What is it when somebody's the best at what they do? You're the goat. You're the
Ah,
goat.
I I I don't even know how to respond to that. So I will just say, if I'm the goat, you are then the goat herder or the trainer, because most of
You're great. All right. So
yeah,
when we met, you were not doing busy bariatrics. You
no,
were guy out there sharing what you had done, encouraging others. So
yeah.
when did and how did busy bariatrics come to be?
I was running a support group and I heard pretty much a horror story from a bariatric patient who hired a coach. The coach did not understand what bariatric surgery was, did not understand essentially how to work with people who have struggled with obesity their whole lives, did not understand that when you weigh 365 pounds, maybe a burpee isn't one of the first exercises to give them.
Gee.
But again, I think it comes from either working in the experiences of our fields that gives us that feel. And it was that they had an impersonal feeling and they didn't really like it. And I was like, well, I know how to lift. I used to program our conditioning programs when I was a football coach.
Oh, wow.
So it was one of those that, like, well, how hard could it be to do this? And I realized very quickly it was very, very hard. I had to get certified. I went through certification programs. I had to start an LLC and a business. I had to get the word out there. But I always had support from like people like you who said like, well, why
Mhm,
don't you think a little bigger, or why don't you do that, or you're capable. And
mhm.
I opened up shop and we just started coaching clients online, and we built the program based on every support system that I wish I had when I came out of
Meaning
bariatric surgery.
meaning?
Everything from, here's what the nutrition aspect should look like at every month post-op, here's what you're going on mentally from a client's perspective,
Mhm,
here's how you have to reshape your relationship with food, here's how you start movement when you're maybe like me, 365 pounds, and you have back and ankle issues, and
mhm,
here's how you put it all together while still showing up as a husband, a father, a mother, a daughter, a caretaker, and all those other titles. So
right.
what I did was, I just, every time a client said, you know, like, I wish we had this, I kind of just built it as best I could. And I said, that just comes with your membership. And
Mhm,
that's where summer camp came, was they were like, I wish we had a chance to actually meet Connie, because that spring you and me had collaborated on so many different projects.
mhm.
So I was like, well, let me see if I could bring her in. And you came in, and we then were like, we wish we could have this every week. So we built summer camp pretty
Nice.
much off the idea. So your work inspires in so many ways what we do.
Very cool. So tell us about summer camp and how can people join summer camp and what exactly is it? And you're certified as what?
I am certified as a personal trainer and a nutrition coach. So I can
Okay.
help you with making you understand the importance of protein, how to incorporate it, where your macros should be. If you were looking for meal plans, you should be working with a registered dietitian. And a lot of what we do and within our coaching is really help you shape the mindset around what it takes to be successful. But then we also realize that there are some things that are beyond the level of what a personal trainer can do. So we've brought
Sure.
in great mindset and certified therapists like yourself
Mhm.
to help do the mindset part. So
That's awesome.
from a
Right.
scientific, yeah,
And let me tell you how much I respect and admire that because a lot of people just stick to their niche, right?
yes,
And that's good. I mean, you shouldn't practice outside your area of expertise, but you should bring people in,
yeah,
which is why in Aftercare, we've got so many patient peer mentors because nobody can understand you as well as a peer. And we've got Tabitha, who's the marriage and family therapist, because if bariatric surgery and significant weight loss, whether it's GLPs or however you lose weight, don't affect relationships, I don't know what does. So Tabitha brings that, and Shay and Laura and Kalisha and Kevin and Rob, you all bring areas of expertise. And then for the nutrition piece, I have a number of dietitians on, like you have too, who are bariatric specific, but primarily Dr. Susan Mitchell is who I collaborate with from Bariatric Surgery Success. So you've got to have all the components because it all affects how you're going to get motivated, stay motivated, think about yourself, think about the process, follow through, remain committed, all those things.
yeah. Our theme this year is the mind and muscle connection
Mm.
because we felt like it was so important to cover the mindset of why it's important to prioritize yourself. How do you start doing that if you've never done it before? And what I've always loved with you, Connie, is you give actionable items in what to do. So it's not just saying like you need to prioritize yourself. You are
Mhm.
very clear with things of like, if you are trying to live a bariatric lifestyle, you need to pack your lunch. I still remember you saying that in summer camp. You
Mhm.
need to put time in your calendar to go work out and hold it like you would any other appointment. And
Exactly, exactly. So, yeah, so summer camp is how long?
so here was the biggest feedback we got last year because
Okay.
I'm all about feedback and figuring it out. Last summer, just to give you an idea, we had about 43 campers that joined. We had 14 who broke down their gym intimidation in our specific breakdown gym intimidation program.
Pause, define.
So, gym intimidation is a term that I don't know if I've coined. I've heard it everywhere else, but I
It
don't know if
sounds
it's
like a
in.
Disney thing. Jim Jiminy.
That is a good one. Yeah. It's, oh my goodness. It's a little bit Mary Poppins of we got to get the spoonful of sugar.
Yeah,
Is, see, and is that Mary Poppins too?
it is, yes, it is. It's very
Look at
Mary
me.
Poppins-esque.
Look at
Okay,
me.
I'm sorry, I interrupted because it was in my mind.
Also, we can't mention another Disney thing because they'll probably sue on the third one. So we're going to cap
Okay,
that
we'll
right
just
there.
yes, okay.
But
Is that you can't
intimidation,
do that?
I don't know. I feel like they might want royalties at the very
Oh,
least.
geez, they should be thanking us.
They should. Disney, where dreams come true. Anyhow,
Oh, and where you get the flu, because I went in January and came home with the flu, just saying.
see, you got to go in December like I did and just get the Mickey ears.
Okay, stop it,
Anyhow,
Connie.
I will
Alright.
refocus. So,
Intimidation.
intimidation, I think, is a very common term or a very common procedure that I see clients and people in the bariatric face is some level of I know I need to go to the gym, but I don't know what to do when I get there.
Yeah.
I know I need to go to the gym, but I'm afraid or intimidated by being around people who are more competent than me. Or I know this is important, but I really don't like it. How do I do it? So, with that as like a cocktail, non Webster's definition of it, we
Mhm.
built a 3 month program that will help you learn basic level moves that you can start with dumbbells and gradually work yourself up to machines and free weights so that you can feel confident in the gym.
Yes, I
The,
love that.
the reason we're starting summer camp earlier is the biggest feedback we got was We want to be able to get ready by summer so that Memorial Day we can lose that 10 to 15 pounds and be beach bod ready. So, what we're doing with summer camp now is if you sign and open now, you are signed through summer camp and your program will run through September, where you will get a
Wow.
chance to get 3 months of working with me and my team to make sure you get feedback every day on your workouts on your form so that you know you're doing it right. You
Wow.
get feedback on how to progress your weights. You get check-ins with myself or Kylie, and you get the support you need to feel confident in getting your lifestyle of movement started.
Can I just say, I love that because I too, and one of the bariatric programs that I worked at for a very long time had a gym and they had a
Oh,
certified trainer. However, they didn't start people out at a reasonable spot. I didn't think
yeah,
I couldn't do what she was doing with newbies. And
yeah,
I just think that talk about some kind of gym intimidation. It's like, don't start me where somebody
at a
who's
10.
20 years old, who no, not at a 10. Absolutely. Start me at a 2.
I think that's really the coolest part is our whole team has had bariatric surgery. So Lisa,
Awesome.
who is our chief programmer, a lot of this is my programming, but now she's starting to build programs. She rehauled our gym intimidation program so that it reflects everything you need to do to start to get into the gym. If you are newly post-op, we
Mhm.
actually have a Be Adaptive program that you can start from the day after surgery by working on stretching and step goals and gently working your way up to dumbbells and home workouts. So if you want to start the first 3 months at home, just getting confident in movement, we have great programs that actually understand the bariatric journey.
I love that, and what a welcoming place. Honestly, I think everybody who has bariatric surgery or even using GLPs because muscle loss is part of that, part of that process. Anybody who's doing this needs to be part of your program, and man, have you grown in a year.
It
Wow.
has grown. The cool thing with summer camp last year was we had 14 campers who broke down gym intimidation and realized with our alumni program, you can stay at a very affordable price, which is cheaper than almost any online coach that I have seen, where
Mm,
you can still get a level of accountability, fitness, nutrition, and daily feedback on your workouts.
mhm.
And people stayed. So we kind of have grown it and built it. Last summer, we'd made over 200 adjustments for clients to give you an idea, meaning
Meaning?
that if a client tweaked their elbow, Kylie is certified as a corrective exercise specialist. So
Nice.
she will give the programs and adjustments to work around if you have knee and mobility issues, if
Wow.
you you're struggling with your range of motion, we have that. And we have some cool data. We found that the clients who stayed over summer, like stayed beyond the first 3 months,
Mhm.
lost 22 pounds more than the clients who just did the 3 months. So when they start,
Wow.
and I'd love for you to speak to this, Connie, when people take the time frames off their goals and just work on process driven, what is going on psychologically that causes that to happen? Or why is that such an important approach?
Oh my gosh, you are speaking my language.
That's
I
why
have
we're
done
together, babe.
I have done several podcasts just on the process, and I have read about how professional athletes and their trainers say, "Focus on the process, not the outcome." Because when we focus on the outcome, we are living in the future, and we can't do that. And it's also related to that, I want the results now. Nothing like body adaptation or weight loss or whatever is gonna happen tomorrow. It's
Yeah.
a process. So if I stay mindful and I stay in today and I focus on what I can do today and I follow the process, I know the outcome will happen. Because if you incrementally and in a dedicated manner and continually do the process, not only will you get better at the process, but you're building your efficacy, meaning I know I can do this. I've been doing it. I can do it. And the results will follow. But that is one of the most important things is stay out of the future, stay in the present, focus on the process, not the outcome.
And I always say one of the best client examples I have of that is actually Lisa, who is our programmer now. She came in at the end of summer camp and she was like, I just want to put it together. So we worked on how do we get you in the gym 3 days a week? How do we work on getting your nutrition together? How do we just build a calendar that reflects for you? And Lisa just did the work and was like, I don't really care about the scale. I just want confidence and I want to work on it. And it was the craziest thing. Half a pound one week, pound another week, half a pound one week, pound another week. And it slowly snowballed. Lisa lost 51 pounds in her first year with me. And this
I'm
is someone
telling you.
hovering, yeah, hovering about 225, 230, and was convinced she was done losing weight because of how we were able to build a program that worked for her and we kept her accountable. She really did put in the work and it was unsexy. Like, I hate to say it, in an age where everyone wants to lose 5 pounds fast, or you might have gotten addicted to that bug from bariatric surgery. You need
Mhm.
to understand to sustain it, it needs to look more like 1 to 2 pounds a week.
That's right.
So she then has become a certified personal trainer. She then, for the next summer, said, what would make it better is what if all the newbies, new BEE,
Get it.
join summer camp? What if we had counselors where they could have someone who isn't their coach, but someone who knows the ropes and feels comfortable and can help acclimate them in? So she started our
Wow.
counselor program
Wow.
and we had 4 counselors last year. We have 4 new counselors that we're probably going to have this year.
Nice.
But we now have someone who is a patient who has come with me, like Lisa worked under me and then became a counselor and now is a personal trainer and is helping shape lives. We
Wow.
now are bringing in that next generation of people who are coming in, who will help counsel you, who will tell you, look, Rob's tough, it gets results, but here's what you do to deal with Rob. So it's a good
That's
balance of that.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Gosh, that is so exciting. I mean, talk about something that's actually working for people and they are loving and
Yeah.
seeing results by following the process. Awesome. So, a few questions I have. So, the gym intimidation program or thing, is
Yeah.
that a set like, I just wanna do gym intimidation, which, of course, then
Mhm.
will lead me into other things, but is that a program unto itself? Is that part of boot or summer camp? Is that part of what is the
You
process?
get it all together. So if you join summer
Oh,
camp, like we said about the sustainable weight loss, we are actually opening up our summer camp package now. So
okay,
listeners of BariAftercare get one of the first spots for uh, all of our one-to-one coaching and everything else. So when you sign with Busy Bariatrics, you will get access to a tracker so that you can have your food monitored and we'll teach you how to set it up and get results through that. You will get workouts built in our app that you will then go to the gym and complete. Or if you want to work at home, we have versions of that as well. You also get access to our community call every Tuesday at 8, and then
nice.
an additional expert speaker call when summer camp starts with speakers like you, Connie.
Yep, awesome. That is very cool. So these aren't like, I gotta pay for gym intimidation, I gotta pay for,
It's
you know.
all under one package. And the crazy part, I'm going to sound like those infomercial people.
Please do.
You can start our program for 150 a month, which is less than what an online coach costs, less than your application
Absolutely.
to get your tracker, less than what it would cost to have a workout program,
Oh my
and still
gosh.
get daily feedback from a certified personal trainer who's also had bariatric surgery.
I
You
mean,
cannot find that elsewhere at that price.
that's that's
Crazy.
very, very
Yeah.
crazy. And talk about investing your money in something where you're getting a whole heck of a lot of a lot,
Yeah.
and by people who understand what you're going through and are gonna go with you at your own pace, push you further than you think you can go, because most of us can do a little more than we think we can, and hear you and be
I'm
with
gonna
you the
get
whole way.
yeah, I'm gonna give your listeners a little trick that we teach in Busy
Okay.
Bariatric.
Okay.
You are stronger than you give yourself credit for. And a lot of the times, how we help break down gym intimidation is we have you do an exercise at the weight you feel confident at. And then we tell you to record yourself with your phone. You don't need like the full tripod, just prop it up on a water bottle. Record yourself with how many reps you can do. And
Okay.
don't count. Just go until you
Oh, I
physically
like
feel
it. Yeah,
exhausted.
yeah, yeah.
We have found over 85% of our clients, when they do that, can lift twice as many repetitions, one X part of the exercise, than what they have been doing. And that lets us open up the conversation of how do we build a stronger, leaner, meaner you and unbreak little mindset techniques like that to really open up your experience.
I love that.
Yeah.
So where'd you learn all these little things?
Oh my goodness. I truly believe the best coaches hire the best coaches
Mhm.
and are lifelong students.
Mhm.
So a lot of what I learned came from my certification, but the certification is really a lot like what you can sometimes see in any college or high school or level course of it gives you the theory, it doesn't really teach you the practice.
Right.
So I worked under Emily Roughton for 6 months to learn a lot of the mindset techniques that help people
Nice.
work with
Nice.
that. I worked with Kayla Diamond to get my programming so that these are lifts and exercise programs that actually progress with you through the process and challenge you
Nice.
better. And
Mhm.
then I continue to work with a coach myself. Like
Mm.
I have a coach and my coach has a
Mhm.
coach. So
Yep.
I think when you surround yourself with the right people like you do in Barry Aftercare,
Mhm.
and why I love being a part of it is I can learn from experts who get it, but also learn every little technique possible.
Absolutely, and, I think that is really essential no matter what a person does. Like, people who tell me, "I wanna be a therapist." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Well, the best thing for you to do then is to get into therapy because, you need to have done your work, and you will bump up against your work or yourself and your own issues when you see it in a patient. So you need to stay in therapy or return to therapy throughout your entire career. Right? I can't expect people to go any further than I've been willing to go in my own therapy. So, it's not the same issues necessarily, but it's the willingness to do the work. And like you, working with other therapists, and I read all the
Yeah.
time,
I think the good
constantly.
I think the good ones in their craft do. You know,
I
you think
agree.
GOAT with like I always think Tom Brady is always referred to as the GOAT. And I think in any field, you could look at like Yo-Yo Ma, the violinist. They work with other people who are excellent, but they also want to learn from whatever they think they can from any level. And I think that's important that
Absolutely.
last year's summer camp, we had other coaches and bariatric coaches who came in
Nice.
just because they understood how valuable this was, but also wanted to learn how do I do certain things? What are my tweaks
Mhm,
and nuances? And I think
mm,
that's a cool thing when you have that level of respect for both sides where
mhm,
it's, I
mhm.
share whatever information I have. So it's
Right.
here's how I would do it. Here's how I kind of teach our clients to do it. Um, and when you're around other people who want to learn, it's a great opportunity.
And the spirit of generosity that I'm hearing from every one of the people who are working with you, is remarkable, and I find that in the bariatric community a lot. Patients wanna share with each other, professionals wanna share with each other. We all are working to benefit and
Yeah.
help other people, and you can't, you c in the 12-step community, you can't keep it if you don't give it away. You've gotta share with one
So be it.
another.
Yeah.
Mhm. It really is. So what's your favorite part for your personal growth and development of having started this whole thing and seeing it grow and I'm probably gonna give your answer here, but seeing how many other people are positively affected?
Um, I guess the coolest, greatest part of all this, like for that bariatric surgery has given me, if we go all the way back, is a phrase that I've just adopted of you're only bound by the limits of your imagination.
Mm,
And I just wish every bariatric patient that listens to this episode or gets anything out of, I am a very ordinary person. I am in my basement at 9 o'clock at night. I am going to work tomorrow as a teacher. Um,
mhm.
if you just open yourself up to changing and making the lifestyle changes, you have no idea where your life is going to go. And I look at it with busy bariatrics. I never thought I'd have more than 10 clients. I never thought that I would be hiring other coaches who are now part of the team and are helping make sure that you get results in your coaching. And it's mentorship. It's being able to help others is something that keeps me accountable as well and lets me say, hey, like what sort of standard am I setting if I'm not showing that I take days off or that I
Yes.
need to relax and not burn out? So it's been
Mhm.
really just an empowering experience learning and getting to meet people like you. I never flew in a plane for like 10 years prior to bariatric surgery. Like to give you an
Oh
idea, I
my
went on my
god.
honeymoon and then I went on a job interview, and those were the only two times. I now hopset scotch across the country, and like I got to visit you in person because of this surgery.
Yeah. Okay, so I just have to ask this kind of personal question. So you live in sort of the same neighborhood that you grew up in?
I'm going to die there. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you got on an airplane to go to a job interview, as in you may have thought you might move?
No, 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 no. It was for a job in Philadelphia, and the corporate office was there. I'm not
Ah!
moving. Like,
I'm like, "Wait a minute, that does not fit with the Rob that I know."
no. And that's the funny part is that's kind of how I introduce myself. I live right outside of Philadelphia. I'm going to die there. Um,
Yes.
and that's kind of like how I live. Like, I
Yeah.
grew up in one town. My wife grew up two towns over, so we moved to the one in the middle, and that's kind of how we settled where we would live.
Okay, just out of curiosity, how did you meet her 2 towns over?
Our grandparents knew each other. They
Oh,
made
dear
wine
God.
together like close to 70 years ago, and then
Gosh.
her mom was in the same homeroom as my parents.
Mm-mm.
And my her uncle is one of my dad's best friends. So we grew up together. Um, and we always knew each other. And then we got to a point where it's like, we kind of want to date, but we don't want our families involved. So we kind of like dated in secret for like a full year.
That is the best.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did you break the news to the families?
Um, we
And
were
was anybody on to you?
no, because at that point I was living in Philly, so I wasn't home. And like when I would come
Ah,
home, Kate was living on a Navajo reservation as well. So it was one of those we would kind of date in the summer during college, and then we'd both be like, we're gonna go do our own thing for the year. And then like we would date in the summer. She would study abroad in like Ireland, and
love
she wanted to
it.
do, yeah, she's a jet setter.
Oh,
Um,
my kinda gal.
she is. There's not a flight that she would not take in a heartbeat. But yeah, so we eventually kind of did this like really awkward, like, hey, quick heads up. We've been dating for like 9 months, but we think it's serious. But at the same time, we didn't really want to tell anyone.
I love
Um,
it.
yeah,
Were they
so
ecstatic?
mixed feelings, we'll say.
Uh-uh.
Mixed feelings.
Right.
Yeah. Um, I'm trying to think. Like it was one of those like weird, like, are you sure this is a good idea thing? That's like a whole 8 podcast episode
Oh
series that
my
we'll have to do.
gosh.
But
I love it.
yeah.
Okay, so I forgot. Okay, so Busy Bariatrics Summer Camp podcast?
Yeah, we've been busy since last summer, since we caught up a little bit. Um, there was a lot of, with social media, it can kind of be nuanced. It's tough to get your message out sometimes, and I just feel like you and so many other people would say like you need a podcast, and I'm like, well, I'm kind of just the bariatric community's house guest. Like I appear on other people's
The house
podcasts.
guest.
Yeah, I just show up and I fix the plate. Like so, it's it was it was like, when would I have the time for this? How could I do this? But I felt like I wanted to be able to explain how to do this in long form so that I didn't have to do a 90-second reel and then worry, like, do I do the right TikTok dance? Am I dancing on the right cue? Am I
Mm,
writing all this editing? It really took away from the fact of I needed to tell a message. So
mhm,
I started a podcast so that more people can just get free resources and information.
mhm.
And the first season's wrapping up. Like, the first season is all about how we coach our busy method and how you can build habits to create a lifestyle you want. A brief understanding of nutrition, how to stay active after bariatric surgery, showing yourself first. These are spelling out to busy people. And then the exclamation point in busy is for an extra healthy source of dopamine. So helping identify those were important. Season 2 is all about grabbing nutrition, and we have some of the best bariatric dietitians in the community coming on to give their perspective
Nice.
of what, yeah. So it's one of
I love
those, I
it.
get a chance to catch up with people like you and just
Mm,
really talk about what matters and have a couple of my friends on as well.
that's really cool, and how do you like it? Are you
It's
enjoying it?
yeah, it's weird because, like, the first season I did all solo, so
Yeah.
it's definitely different than when we do this, and I think I like that a
Mhm.
little bit better.
Mhm.
And then it's a chance because I get a good mix of what I wanna do each time. So
Mhm.
some of them are kind of like, this is what we notice in our coaching calls is showing up. This is what we see in social media. Here's where the message is. And then for some where I'm like, I really don't know the best answer possible. I just go find people like you and ask them to come on and share.
Well, that is great too, and that's why I love having people on too, because I know this much, and there's this much to know, right?
It's
And so
impossible to know everything.
oh, for gosh sake, yeah. I love it. So, when you talk about seasons in your podcast, what does that mean? You have, like
I I think it's just what I'm putting for how I'm making clear, like,
I like
stop and
that.
start points.
So, we're gonna
Um,
talk about the basics, and we're gonna have the nutrition. So smart.
yeah, it's more of like the teacher organized brain in me is like, well, if I can sort these out by this, and then you can go to YouTube and see it by season, you can kind of
Mhm.
be like, okay, watch the first 5 episodes if you kind of want an idea of how to put the lifestyle together. I
I
don't
love
know what proteins, carbs, or fats are. Perfect. Go to season 2. Here's
Mhm.
everything from the top
Mhm.
dietitians in the field.
I love
And
it.
then season 3 is going to be mindset, which I am inviting you on now.
I'm
And I'm
in.
hoping you'll say yes.
I'm
See,
in. I'm in.
booked my first guest for season 3. Let's go.
Yay. Yeah, that's cool, and so in Barry Aftercare, we will be posting a link to each one of your episodes because
Awesome.
I think this is such an important thing, and I think it might be one of the things that I don't know, let me get your take on this because this is your area of expertise, but I think that the movement, the exercise, the is there's gym intimidation and then there's oh my gosh, exercise intimidation, period, for
Yeah.
a lot of people. Now, a lot of people with surgery were athletes prior to weight gain, but some of them have never
I
gone
would say
anywhere near it.
I would say more often than not, they're not
They're not
athletes prior
intimidated
to
by it.
that.
Oh, they're
No,
oh,
no, no, they're not
absolutely.
athletes prior to it. And I think
No.
I don't have any research or data to back this up. I can only really go by coaching clients, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but there is a pattern I've noticed of people who struggled to find either movement they liked at a younger age or
Mm,
had some experiences that left a negative taste in their mouth that kind of
mhm.
closed that off. And I understand that. I feel the same way when it comes to cottage cheese. Like, I had a really bad, yeah, it's true. I was traumatized as a 5-year-old by it, and I tried it. I was like, "Ugh, you can't get me to eat it now." So we also have on YouTube an entire exercise library where we show
Oh,
you how to do the movement, what
nice.
muscle is activated, common mistakes on the muscle, and how
Yeah.
to incorporate it. And those videos are actually linked to our app. So when you get the
Yes.
breakdown of what exercises do, you can hit the video. And unfortunately, it's a video of me and a voiceover by me. So you get a lot of me talking
Mhm.
throughout.
That's not
That,
a bad thing because you're a wise man.
yep. And we kept each video to a minute long. So it's really just a quick,
Ah.
here's what you do, watch how we do the exercise, here's the muscle you should feel. If you feel this, you need to adjust your form. So
Wow, that is really smart.
we've been busy. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I should say you have. I can imagine the transformation in your basement. You must have a studio and a
The podcast studio came up. These are just paper photo papers, so it's like a little faux wall back here.
mhm.
And then the stuff we shot at a couple gym locations with
Ah,
my training buddy. So we show what it's like to be busy. Of we find time to make it work, and this is still while showing up and getting everything else done in our bariatric journey.
good God, and you're teaching and you have children and a wife and
Yeah,
parents
yeah.
and
Dance
family?
competition weekend this weekend.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Is it there or do you have to travel?
We're depends on the weekend and everything. We got very lucky. It's 3 towns over from where we are in South. I know South Jersey. It's like here's like the 5 towns, um, but we get to do there, and that's kind of the beauty of coaching. Is I get to show up for my kids' events, and then I coach clients after that, or I
Mhm,
can pick my kids up from school, and we're very intentional of that 15 minutes each day is just
mhm.
time to talk and really discuss. And
Love it.
it's getting intentional with your time.
It is, and that's why, we talked about especially with exercise, which some people don't necessarily look forward to.
There's days I still don't.
I understand that. But you know what? But anyway, it's scheduling time. You gotta
Yeah.
right well, you do have to. But you know what? W I was at my women's group tonight, and we were talking about joy, and how we have to make a conscious effort to say, "You know what? All these stressful things going on, this was my joy today. This was my joy today. This was my joy today." You know what my joy today was?
What's that?
I went into my little exercise room.
I love that room.
I love that room too. And I did a 45-minute slow flow yoga class just because it's joyful to me.
Yeah.
Movement to me is joyful. And, some and people say, I want to get to the point where I want to exercise every day. It's a good place to be. If I don't exercise, my head is not right.
I find it, I will never say that the gym is my therapy because therapy should be everybody's therapy, but I will say there are healing, or can I say therapeutic? Is therapeutic without it being therapy fair to say?
There's many modalities of therapy, right?
Yeah. There's something to say of like setting some time aside for yourself every day, putting yourself first, and really challenging yourself that we love. And in Busy Bariatrics, we actually help our clients find the movement that they love, and then we build a plan around them. So we have clients
Yes.
who love Pilates, and it's like, here's workouts that can help you tone up or finish up and get the muscles you need activated for Pilates. We have other
Mhm,
ones running 5Ks and half marathons. We'll program that for you, but also here's the lifting and stretching you should do to keep your body
mhm.
fresh for a marathon.
Mhm. And I think, there's so much science now behind movement and flexibility and strength training that I think we cannot ignore that those are the basics. You've gotta have that to for long-term daily living, skills of daily living.
Yeah, a lot of research shows as bodies age, bone density decreases and muscle mass decreases by as
Right.
much as about a pound per year. Um,
Wow.
yeah, and it's one of the best parts of just building in resistance training. And even for bariatric patients and people on GLP-1s, it's important to also remember that if you are losing weight, you may be losing fat and muscle. So muscle
Right.
retention is very critical.
Yes.
And because of that, we prioritize doing resistance training to help maintain it. But we've had clients in their 50s and 60s in our program come in and get amazing results as well as feel stronger. Their posture has gotten better, they are moving better. So there really is no age limit when it comes to learning how to step into a gym and do things that make you happy.
That's right, and it is a beautiful thing when you get to the point in your life where you're like, I don't feel right if I don't exercise, and it doesn't have to be like you said every day. I
Yeah.
don't exercise every day, but it's a good 5 days a week, and I do the things I love, and yoga is one of them, and there's a lot of strength training in yoga
Hmm.
through body weight, but my daughter, as you know, recently got her personal training certification, and so she's got me doing the weights too.
Perfect. And that's
Mhm.
it's so important at any age and stage that we have everyone from 20 to up to 60s and 70s. Building muscle and maintaining muscle helps such an amazing part. And
Yeah.
it's critical for everyone.
So, where do people find your podcast? What's it called? Where do they find it?
It's the Busy Bariatric Podcast with Rob Demedio. And that's on Apple, Spotify. We are also on YouTube if you want to check the
Nice.
exercise library there.
Is it also under Busy Bariatrics with Rob DeMedio?
Yes, Busy
Okay.
Bariatrics on YouTube. I'll send you all the links so they can be in the show
Okay,
notes
I'll put
as
them in
well.
the show notes. Excellent. And people can sign up for summer camp how?
I will put the link in there as well.
Perfect.
And then we will have everything. See, I love that Connie's giving me actionable items. So when I leave, I
Mhm.
can give exactly what we need.
Well, I want people getting signed up for this.
True. And
I
here's what
want
I will
them.
say. Even if they just
Absolutely.
sign up for my email list,
Right.
you get my meal plan template that I use to plan out meals 6 months in advance in order to map out. We don't cook them, just an idea of like, here's how I use all the recipes in my book to build out everything that we need so you can see exactly how to make meals that work for your bariatric journey without having the same four meals over and over again.
I love it. Will you talk about that first when you do your next support group in BariAftercare?
Absolutely.
That is a great topic. Okay, so we will give you guys look at the show notes, get all of the contact information that you need. If you are a member of the Bari Aftercare program, you will get to see lots and lots of Rob. And you know what else? I think by going onto the YouTube Busy Bariatrics and checking out that video library, it will give you a really good idea of what you can look forward to and realize that this is a doable kind of program with really awesome people who really get it. So you can't go wrong.
Yeah, I'll close it on our quote. You are only bound by the limits of your imagination.
Amen to that. All right. So get that imagination running wild and get out there and be part of this busy bariatrics summer camp. And then you won't leave. Rob, treasure you. And
Always
we will,
appreciate you. And Connie, just thanks for changing my life in the best ways possible.
I tell you, well, here's what I will say. Thanks for letting me be a part of you changing your life.
It just shows no, you don't realize the impact you have on so many people. And
Good.
even just taking a moment at the end of this episode to realize like this is all because you wrote a couple books and you shared your truth. So thank you.
Well, I am grateful to be part of that. Oh, that hits home in a beautiful way. Thanks, Rob. Talk to you soon, okay?
Can't wait to catch up again. Later,
All right.
Connie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.